Yes, well, since we can't connect with people in real life anymore, for the time being at least, we're looking forward to the day when we can get back into the theaters. We decided that we would launch a Shakespeare Film Festival and that we would make it free to everybody to watch at home. So we grouped we have 12 Shakespeare films that we've recorded over the last number of years since 2014, and we grouped them into themes that related somehow to the pandemic. So, isolation, social order and government, minds pushed to the edge, and relationships. And then we used those to group all of the Shakespeare films that we have on film. These aren't live. No, they're not like you would see at the moment. A lot of people are doing these fun Zoom readings of plays and whatnot. We actually had already filmed these as motion pictures, so to speak. So they were filmed live in the festival theaters, and then they were edited. So we shot them. They're incredible. They like really an incredible experience to watch these. They're beautiful quality. So we record them at a live performance with 8 or 9 cameras, 128 channels of sound. And then we bring the audience back about 3 hours later that evening, and we do some pickup shots so that we've got great close-ups, and in case you miss anything, like in King Lear, what if the smoke blew the wrong way or something for where the camera was positioned. So we have redone all of we have an opportunity in 3 hours to pick up those shots. They're then edited. We released them through Cineplex in Canada, so they've played across the country, and then they've also played in the U.S. and internationally, screened, I should say, not played. And then CBC does a shortened version of them each summer, and then we make them available for download. So instead of charging for those downloads at the moment, we've put them on YouTube, and or we are rolling them out on YouTube, I should say. Each film will be available for 3 weeks, and each one begins with a live watch party or viewing party. So we're doing the viewing parties every Thursday. They begin at 6:30 with an incredible interview with the star of the show. We rolled out King Lear first, and that started with a wonderful interview with our artistic director, Anthony Cimolino, who directed King Lear, interviewing Colin Fior, who plays Lear. This Thursday, we have Robert Lepage, the amazing genre-defying, internationally renowned director, has directed Coriolanus for us, and so he is interviewing with Antony again and Andre Sills, who plays Coriolanus, and that is an unbelievable film. So that debuts this Thursday, and then we are supplementing with interesting interviews as well that are available at various times during the week. You can watch them anytime. After that live viewing party, you can tune in anytime. You visit our website, stratfordfestival.ca, and you can watch those films on your own time for 3 weeks each. And you can see all the other content too. For sure. It's a really difficult time for the Stratford Festival, but not just for us, for the entire community of Stratford. We all rely on the Stratford Festival in ways that sometimes aren't even evident to every single member of the community. But the festival employs 1,000 people directly, and that doesn't include the people who work in tourism. There are another 2, 3, 4,000 people who work in tourism-related jobs or jobs that benefit from the tourist trade. So B&B owners, shop owners, restaurants, uh, farmers who supply restaurants. I could go on and on. It's hotels and inns. There are so many people that really rely on the festival for the trade. Then, of course, there's all the artists too, and the artisans who make the costumes and build the props and make the wigs and the hats and do the makeup. There's so many people involved that it's a huge blow, financially, massive blow to the festival, because while we're the largest not-for-profit theater, actually the largest performing arts institution in Canada, we are the least funded by the government. We get only between 3 and 4 million a year from all levels of government. So about 6% of our operating budget, which, it's low for Canada, but it's really low when you look at Europe, where they can get 40, 50, 60% for their major theaters and performing arts organizations. So that, not complaining, but what that means is that we rely on the box office. 70% of our revenue comes from selling tickets, and then there's another 25% or so that comes from donors, members who buy memberships for the year. We're not a subscription theater, but people buy members to get added benefits. Um, People who sponsor the shows, donors who support individual shows. So there's just most of our revenue is related to mounting a season. Well, we are a theater, I guess that it's sensible, but a lot of people think we're funded by the government, which really, yes, we are very grateful for the funding we do get, but most of that money that we run on comes from selling tickets, and we can't sell tickets anymore. So our revenue sources have completely dried up, and that puts us in a terrible, terrible situation. We had to issue layoffs. Now, recently, with the government support, we've been able to issue recall notices to quite a few people, but that doesn't necessarily affect all of the seasonal employees. It definitely doesn't affect the artists, musicians, and other people who are independent contractors and not full-time staff members or seasonal staff members. So it's tough. It's tough for the festival. It's tough for the community. It's tough for the artists. It's tough for the staff. But we know that this is something that has to be done. I mean, we have to react to this pandemic. We have to flatten the curve. We have to get past it. So what we're doing in at the Stratford Festival and in all of the theaters across Canada is crossing our fingers that there will soon be a vaccine or effective antiviral treatments, because we want to get back in the theater. We want to be entertaining people, and I know people are desperate to get out of their houses and be entertained. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We're just a little worried about how far away that light is right now. No, we have, trust me, if we don't have to postpone, we won't postpone. So at the moment, because we're a repertory theater, we do 15 shows all at the same time. And that means each actor's in 2 or 3 different shows, and then they're rehearsing for a later show if it's not already on stage. So it's an incredibly complicated schedule. What we can't do is sort of say, well, we'll lock this part off and we'll start here. So what we've had to do is just cancel the entire season. Sadly, sadly, sadly. But that's the only way it works. We have to work it that way. Then if things improve and we're able to go back onto the stage, we'll decide what we're able to put on stage. So maybe it's a mini fall season if it's safe and good by then. Maybe it's some holiday programming over the Christmas period. Um, or worst case scenario, maybe it is just we move this season and we plop it down in 2021, and as much of it as we can. And of course, I guess that's maybe not worst case scenario. Maybe, hopefully not. Let's cross our fingers. Let's knock on wood and say 2021 won't be affected. We're planning all kinds of fun content as the days pass. You can imagine when you work with a bunch of incredibly creative artists, actors, directors, musicians, there are new ideas coming up all the time. We're hoping to have we didn't film any of our musicals because there are rights issues regarding that are very hard to get to film musicals, but we have some clips. So we're talking to Donna Fior, our amazing director choreographer, about doing something special to showcase those clips in the future. I know a lot of people have been asking to see at least a glimmer of the musicals of the past. We have some fun promos and things coming up, but right now, today, you can tune in to our live viewing parties or to watch our films on your own time, and listen to some of the really great. We have cast reunions on Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock, and you can access it all through our website. So go there, have a look at what you want to watch. Tune in for Coriolanus. Great opportunity. It was King Lear, our first film, Coriolanus, our second film that we're rolling out. We're 2 of the top selling Shakespeare's ever. And then next week we have Macbeth, which is, if you like Game of Thrones, you should watch this version. It's set in that period. The costumes, the thrones themselves. It's very sexy. I mean, Macbeth's a horrifying story, but we all know that story mostly. But it stars Ian Lake and Christopher Pellerin, who have gone on to pretty good Canadian stardom so far. I'm sure they're people will recognize their faces for sure. And it's hot, it's spooky, it's really compelling to watch. Ditto Coriolanus, which you can see this week and for the next 3 weeks, directed by Robert Lepage. So when you sat in the theater and watched it was like watching a movie. The way he did it like incredible special effects, and it really translates well to film. So thrilling to watch. And King Lear, which was the top-selling Shakespeare with Colin Feore. Oh my God, guttingly emotional. So if you need a little catharsis at this time, want to shed some tears, tune into King Lear.